Happy Friday. Frank Rock is the name. Baseball is the game. Let's get into St. Tennessee versus Albany tonight. First game of the weekend series. The Vols come out of this one with a win 8-5 tonight. And what was really an interesting game. A lot of weird stuff I thought happened tonight in this game. As it just I don't know. I'm going to get more into it as I go along. Really, from the time I saw the lineup until the end of this game, I just thought there was a lot of odd stuff kind of going on here tonight. I'm going to kind of adjust this just a little bit. But you guys are in here so far. Thank you for tuning in with me. I appreciate you tuning in. Tennessee, wins again tonight. They go to 5-1 on the season. Fully expect they'll go to 7-1 on the season after this weekend. I don't think it's a great Albany team that they're playing this weekend. But, if you were watching this game, though, it come down to that final when Causey left the guy standing. 3-run bomb ties this thing up. It wasn't over until the end. So it was, like I said, a lot of odd stuff happened throughout the game. Before I go any further, you guys know the drill. If you're on here, make sure you share this thing out. I'm more concerned you share it out. And if you haven't already, you like what I'm putting out, make sure you subscribe to this thing as well. We're going to talk some baseball, and then I'm going to veer off the path here after a while, and we're going to get into some football just because, new assistant coaches and then the big NIL ruling today, I feel that warrants talking about. I hadn't really anticipated talking about football tonight, but with that ruling, I feel that's a pretty big deal, especially as far as it goes with Tennessee. And I put one video out here a few weeks ago. I got a little amped up about it. I may get a little amped up again tonight with the NCAA. But I'm kind of excited what's coming out of that. But, we'll veer back on the beaten path here. Baseball, 8-5 tonight. And my first thing I was interested about, and like I said, I want to kind of get into the stats breakdown first. But, of course, A.J. Russell started tonight. He only went 3 innings. I don't know, and any of you guys that are listening on here, maybe if you heard something different than me, I don't know if it was a case of he went out, Vitale just cut him short, if he went out with some kind of injury, some kind of prevention. I'm not sure what happened on that, if they just went with it, because even though I love the 4:30 games from the standpoint of them finishing early, I don't love the 4:30 games from the standpoint of I'm just getting in. I do have a full-time job other than this, and I'm just getting in from that. So there's a lot of things I'm trying to do and trying to watch the game and trying to listen to it. So it's kind of hard to do at that point. Nothing anybody else doesn't do coming in at 4:30. But, if you caught something I didn't on that, because A.J. Russell went 3 innings tonight. He was effective. He did his thing. He threw 54 pitches in 3 innings. So, he's throwing about 18 pitches per inning. Maybe that's a little more than you'd want. But I think looking at it, he gave up 1 fly ball out, 3 ground ball, 3 hits, 1 walk, 4 strikeouts. So he's still at the year through 2 starts at a 0.00 ERA. Unfortunately for him, he's at a 0-0 record. And I think he pitched well enough last week to earn a win against Texas Tech. The only problem is you have to go 5 innings to get that in. And Causey come in and got the win last week. Stamos. I've heard it pronounced like 3 different ways now. So I'm hoping that, I know the announcer tonight said Stamos on it. And this guy's been calling most of the games. You had Cody Hahn of VFL, who was the color guy tonight as well. But you had Stamos is what they called it last weekend. So he faced 11 batters, 51 pitches, 3 fly ball outs, 4 ground ball outs, 3 innings, 2 runs, 2 earned. He gave up a home run tonight. His 1 hit was a home run. He gave up 2 walks, which got him in trouble in that inning, and he had 1 strikeout. So that's surprising, because when he came over from Cal last year, he had a high Ks per 9 innings strikeout. So not his night tonight. Frankly, I just really don't think it was Tennessee. I don't think they played a great game tonight. But, I mean, they won again, and it's college baseball. If you look around the scoreboard today at these games, Stony Brook beats LSU today in Baton Rouge. The last I saw, Kennesaw State was up on Clemson as well. Yeah, this is pretty funny right here. I'm going to come to this one in a minute, Tim. This is a pretty funny comment. I'd actually posted, have a night, Cal Stark, and then they reversed it right after that. But, you know, it's what I love about college baseball. You never know from night to night, weekend to weekend. Some of these mid-week series, and we saw it earlier this week, Wake Forest lost UNC Greensboro. Vanderbilt has lost twice already this year. Austin Peay went down and beat Mississippi State this past week. It's the beauty of college baseball. Some of these lower programs, like within the last 10 years, we got Coastal Carolina won a national championship. That's awesome. I love it. And again, I don't think Albany's that good, but I've got a big question I'm going to come to here again in a few minutes, because I looked into my bullet points. I said I was going to start out with the stats breakdown, so I'm going to go with that, and then we'll get into more. So talked about the pitching first. Russell, 3 innings, no runs. Stamos, 3 runs. 2 runs, 3 innings. He had 2 walks, 1 K. AJ Causey comes in. He goes 3 innings, 45 pitches, 3 runs. Only 1 was earned. And that's a tough one. I'm going to come to that one here in just a minute. 3 hits, 1 walk, 2 strikeouts. There's part of me says those were 3 earned runs, because I look at the fielding and they gave Curley an error on that. And, you know, you guys in the comments here, you can feel free to disagree. That was a tough play. That's going to be a tough play that Curley had on that one. I don't know that he would have gotten anybody with it. I really don't. Maybe he would have gotten an out at first, but I don't know. Just doesn't seem to me like he would. Let's see, Tim. Let's get Cal Stark got a good workout run to base on home run. It gets reversed. Never seen that before. Didn't home plate. The actual third base umpire is the one who went down the line and ruled it fair. So it was, I don't know. I never saw a view to justify it, but that guy who run down the line and called it fair was the closest one to it. So I know the home plate umpire has, I guess they have autonomy in it, but I don't know. That dude went down the line and called it fair, and it's not where it lands, it's where it goes across. So it's I don't know. That was a weird one to me. And I guess that's the bad thing about an ESPN Plus broadcast, is they don't have all the camera angles to see it. And you know, the only one I saw was from the side, so you really could not tell. I didn't see enough to overturn it, but I also didn't see a good view of it either. But I'm with you. I was kind of like, oh, come on. How do you overturn that? But, they reviewed it. I don't know what angles they have that we don't on TV. Obviously, they should have every angle. But, also that guy that's on the third base line, I would think he's close enough. He's seeing whether it crosses in foul territory or not. I mean, that's my opinion on it. And again, it doesn't matter where it lands. It matters where it crosses at on that as well. But, that's kind of how it goes sometimes. I agree with you. I didn't think there was enough video evidence to overturn it either. But, if we're going to go that route, just let the home plate umpire call it. But, so I had to stay with. They did review it. And then they upheld it. So kind of went along with everything tonight. I thought it was strange. I'm guessing by your comments you thought kind of the same, because I thought it was weird. I hadn't really seen that often. I have seen it, but not very. I've seen it in a major league game before, but I don't know. Just not enough for me to overturn it either. And that would have been awesome for Cal Stark to have had that as well, because it's a guy, he's not in there for his at-bat, but I was texting a buddy of mine during the game, and we talked about it when he started last weekend, then today. 2 backside hits. Or last week he got robbed of a hit. Today he got a hit first at bat. And then I think he got a hit by pitch in that at bat. But Cal Stark is doing things with the bat that are pretty good so far in his limited amount of at bats. But getting into the bat, this puzzles me. I go back and forth on it here. I've talked about my opinion on the lineup. I've given my opinion on what the lineup I feel the lineup should be. It's an opinion. Doesn't mean I'm right. Doesn't mean I'm wrong on it. I'm not a fan of Inslee leading off. I am a fan of Inslee in the lineup. I'm a fan of his in center field. I'm not a fan of his leading off. I'm not necessarily a fan of Dreiling in the 2-hole. I am a fan of Dreiling in the field. But they put out the lineup Wednesday night against ETSU. You had Moore leading off, Burke second, and very happy to see Burke hit that opposite field bomb tonight. Not so much he hit a bomb, he hit an opposite field bomb. That tells me he's making adjustments. That's a good sign for Blake Burke because normally he's just hitting pull monster bombs. He's looking to me right now, even though he only has one bomb through, 6 games now, as a guy who's becoming more of a hitter. And yes, the strikeouts are up, but I think a guy like that, his strikeouts are going to be up. I like that I saw that. But Wednesday night against ETSU, you saw Christian Moore leading off, which I love. Burke second. That 2-hole is interesting to me because I don't think they found that ideal 2-hole guy. Amick was third. What they have? Peebles fourth. I'm trying to think how it went from there. Tears was in there. You had Curley. You had, Inslee. Curley, Dreiling, Inslee was the last 3. Villeneuve, that's who it was. It was Villeneuve was in at 5, then Tears, and then you went Curley, then you went Dreiling, you went Inslee. Tony a lot of times mixes it up with right, left as much as possible on it. That lineup put up 16 runs. That was a game when I previewed it. I looked at ETSU coming out of the weekend and what they did. Now, granted, they played Lafayette, but I thought it was a game in state. It would be one of those kind of slugfest games. Thought it would be a tight game. ETSU had 1 hit. Tennessee put 16 runs on the board. Obviously, their most potent performance of the year. With that lineup, we go tonight and we go right back to you look at the Asheville game. They got out of that game with a 3-2 win, and that lineup was not good. And Tony goes right back to it tonight. I love Tony Vitello. I don't get the lineups. I don't get them sometimes, and this lineup is not it. Like I said, I like Inslee. He's not a top of the lineup guy. Everything you look at, whether you're an analytics guy, whether you're an old school guy, whether you're just a regular statistics guy, none of it backs it up. Tony Vitello's obviously a lot more in tune with baseball than I am, or else I would be out there. I wouldn't be just sitting here on a YouTube channel. But it's just, I don't know. I want to see him change that lineup back tomorrow. I don't think it was any coincidence that lineup didn't produce a whole lot tonight. Look at the stats on it. Albany's pitchers were only charged with, they were only charged with 5 earned runs tonight. They were charged with 2 errors. And I don't know, man. The 5 earned runs almost seemed like a little much. I didn't think Tennessee earned a lot of them. And I've seen it said before, well, you put Christian Moore in that 3 spot. That gives him a chance to bat with guys on. He's not batted hardly in any game in the 3-hole with a runner on to start that game. Inslee has 1 hit and now 5 games leading off to start the game. This is the 6th game in a row. They haven't scored a run in the first inning. It's not good. That's not a good sign of the lineup. I know when I come in, I missed Inslee's at bat. Dreiling struck out. And then here Moore gets a double. And then they end the inning after that. Moore's got to lead off. Moore has got to lead off. Is he maybe more of a middle lineup hitter? Possibly. But based on what all he can do and his batting average right now for the year, and this is through 6 games, and this is pretty impressive. It is at 481. 481 for the year. That is awesome. That is awesome. He's already got 7 doubles in 6 games. He has 5 RBIs, and that's with pretty much coming up to start the game with no one on. 6 runs. He has 1 home run. He has 6 walks. He has struck out 4 times. But if you go through that lineup, I mean, out of the guys who are playing regularly, him and Tiers and Peebles only have 4 strikeouts. Peebles hasn't played as much as Moore has. I mean, Backus has 1. He hasn't played much. Stark has 3 strikeouts. Curley has 2. Reese Chapman, who they keep, I'll get to that one in a minute as well, as to why we're getting this lineup that we're getting. And the lineup tonight, getting those statistics. Inslee leading off, went 0 for 5. Dreiling, 1 for 3. He did have an RBI. He had 1 walk out of the 2 hole. Moore, 2 for 4. 1 run, 2 doubles, 1 walk. Tiers, 2 for 5. He did have a strikeout. Amick, 2 for 4, 1 RBI. No strikeouts tonight. Blake Burke, 1 for 3. I like this stat. 1 for 3, 2 runs, 2 RBIs, 1 home run, 1 walk. That's a good night for Blake Burke. I like to see that. Curley, 1 for 4. He did have a strikeout. He was caught looking. Reese Chapman, 0 for 3, not 0 for 10 on the season, and they keep running him out there. This is not a bat that is proven, and I know he was a pretty highly rated recruit coming out, but you're taking at-bats away from Cannon Peebles, who has struggled. Don't get me wrong. Cannon Peebles is at 211, 211 slugging, 211 batting average on the season. Not great, but Reese Chapman on the year is 0 for 10 with 2 walks, 3 strikeouts, no hits on the year. I know he made a great play defensively the other night, but are we really going back the Christian Scott route, which, you know, I give Christian Scott a hard time because at the end of the year he wasn't great in the tournament, but he had one of the better batting averages in conference last year. So he was in for a reason at that point. And you look back on it to Hunter Inslee's up top, he had one of the better batting averages in conference. Right now, I mean, I still don't think this lineup looks the same come SEC play. I think there's a lot of tweaks to be made. I still think they're settling in. I still want to see more Robin Villeneuve. I don't want to take at bats from him so Reese Chapman could get at bats on it. I think Dreiling, Inslee, and Tiers have established they're your 3 main outfielders on it. If Chapman's a good defensive guy, if he's better than someone else, bring him in late on that. Same with Cal Stark. Cal Stark has earned, he's probably, I mean, you saw it last week against Oklahoma. Played a hell of a game defensively, but, you know, the bat, he's had some good at bats so far. I'm not hating on him with his at bats. Maybe he's swinging a better bat this year, but I think that's some things you have to look at when you get into this. And I hope Tony will change that lineup up because I just don't think this lineup tonight, and I've seen it 5 games now, I don't think you can justify continuing to run it out there because in game 1 they had 6 runs, game 2 they had 1. Game 3, they had 11. Well, that's 18 runs over 3 games. That's 6 runs per game. Game 3, you had 3 runs. Tonight, you had 8 with only 5 of them earned. It's not a potent offense. It's not a potent lineup, so to speak. The one game you go with Moore leading off, Burke, Amick, Peebles, which honestly, I like it, that lineup. And I know Burke has struggled a little bit. Let's see what Burke put his average to tonight. He put it at it's at 259. That's not great by any means. And Burke is looking at 7 Ks on the year. But I thought it was big. He didn't strike out tonight. He has a couple doubles. He has 4 RBIs, 7 hits, 6 runs, 3 walks, and 2 home runs for Burke. Am I forgetting one at this point? I don't remember Blake Burke hitting 2 home runs. They've got him on D1 baseball with 2 home runs, and maybe I have totally blanked out along. Let's see. Let's see what else we got. Let's see. Averages on the year at this point. Inslee 194, Dreiling 320, Moore 481, Tiers 391, Amick 333, Burke 259, Curley 364, Bargo pinch hit, he's at 111, Backus 500, Cal Stark 286, Cannon Peebles 211 on that. So that's kind of what you are looking at here as well. Let's see here. So I think that's a pretty, I don't know. I'm curious to see where they go with all this moving forward. And, against an Albany team, not a great team, but that's kind of, I don't know. That's kind of where we're at. I still like what I'm seeing out of the pitching. I know Tony Vitello talked about this week that he's liked. I guess it's more of a case of the guys earlier in the week, that midweek, those freshmen, those younger guys. I think they provided more than he anticipated, and he said that kind of changed the lineup this week. So I don't know. We're looking at Drew Beam going tomorrow. Who's going to go Sunday? Is it Sechrist? Do they go with Nate Snead? Can they go someone else out of that as well? I'm really interested to see that Sunday slot with Beam tomorrow. I'm curious to see that lineup as well. I think that's probably going to put an end to baseball talk for tonight. Not much more to say on that. Not a great game for Tennessee tonight, but it was, a win's a win. You take care of business. You look around, you see Stony Brook beating LSU. You saw Kennesaw. Let me pull up scores again. I'm curious to see what ended up that Kennesaw score here. If you want any college baseball scores, D1 baseball is really good. They have a lot of stuff. I mean, you go here. This is kind of fun. Texas Tech played Texas Southern and won 32-5. You have Stony Brook beat LSU 5-2. Wichita State's up on Virginia 3-2 in Jacksonville. Illinois went down to Coastal, beat Coastal 5-4. K-State beat Holy Cross. Tennessee will see K-State pretty soon. South Carolina's whipping up on Belmont. Wake Forest whipped up on Dayton 14-2. Duke won 2-0. Of course, Tennessee 8-5. Here's one, UC Santa Barbara. They're ranked 22nd. They lost to Sacramento State 6-2. Holy crap. Kennesaw State in the bottom of the 8th. At number 10, Clemson is up 17-1. Wow. This is against Clemson's Friday night starter. Woo. That is, wow. We'll see what the rest of the weekend goes like. Vanderbilt up 9-2 on Gonzaga. Florida up 10-0. A&M up 2-0 as well. So that's kind of some interesting games tonight. UCLA at TCU. Arkansas Arkansas against Oregon State in the same stadium that Tennessee played in last weekend in Arlington. Another classic this weekend that they have going on. So that could be an interesting game. If you still got your Flow Sports account, you can actually watch that game. Yep, Tim. Thank you. That's what I thought as well. D1 baseball has got Burke with 2 home runs, and I could not remember him hitting another home run. And so thank you for clarifying that for me, because I didn't. He's had some good hits, but he hadn't had the home runs on it. Tomorrow, I think where I'm going tomorrow, so like I said, I'm going to wrap baseball talk. I'm going to get in a little football here as well, kind of amp that up a little bit. But with baseball, tomorrow they play at 2 o'clock. Basketball's tomorrow at 8 o'clock. It's Texas A&M. I'm going to record a preview of that game here in just a few minutes and release that I'm excited about that game tomorrow. It's Checker, Thompson Bowling, or Checker, the Food City Center. If that Tennessee team tomorrow night does not come out with vengeance on their minds, I don't know why they're on that court. A&M a couple weeks ago played the game of the year. Their coach acted like a freaking idiot, complete dumbass. And, Rick Barnes said it after later in the week. I think I'm going to put the play in where we just run over a guy if he's on the court. Yeah, they should flatten his ass. And I'm not for Buzz Williams getting hurt by any means. But if he's going to get out in the middle of the court and he gets run over, so be it. It's his own fault. He knows better. And that Texas A&M team shot lights out that night. They hadn't shot that well all year. They've not shot that well since. They've not won a game since. They lost at Vanderbilt. They lost to Alabama. They lost to Arkansas. No shame in losing at Alabama, but you lose at Vanderbilt. You lose to Arkansas at home. Yeah, that shouldn't happen. Tennessee needs to run those guys out of the gym tomorrow night, not even be close, not let the foot off the gas, not take their foot off of their throats tomorrow night. Put it on it, leave it on them, send old Buzz back to College Station with his tail tucked between his ass tomorrow night. That's what they need to do with that. So I'm excited about that game. I'm fired up for it. And normally, it's just one of those meh games. Not tomorrow night. That's a revenge game. That's an absolute revenge game. I want to see Tennessee come out and take care of business on. But I said I was going to veer off the beaten path and get into football. Today, they ruled, the federal courts ruled that NIL rules, federal judge grants preliminary injunction, bars the NCAA from enforcing NIL rules. So this is, obviously Tennessee, the state of Tennessee, state of Virginia had this filed. Obviously, this is a win for both. And I've said it before. It's a witch hunt. It is an absolute witch hunt against Tennessee. And I'm not one of these conspiracy theorists or anything that thinks ESPN's against them, that thinks the NCAA's against them. But the Jeremy Pruitt thing, it is what it is. But when was it? A couple days ago? You guys that are tuning in, if you saw any Johnny Manziel interviews where he said that there was bags on the table, said it was from A&M. There was a bag man at A&M. There was a bag man at LSU. There was a bag man at Alabama. He said any team that was competing for a national championship had a bag man. Yet, the NCAA chooses to focus on Tennessee during that time. I don't know, man. I've thought all this time, especially during that time where Tennessee was proven. Who was it? Mims that went to Georgia, and it was proven Tennessee tried to pay him. How much money did Georgia pay him? Okay, Tennessee couldn't get him. Maybe not everything's about money, but a lot of these guys are taking the money. You got to tell me. But now we're going to come at Florida State because a coach drove a prospect to a meeting. We'll come at Florida, and now you're coming at Tennessee over it. Bullshit. Absolute bullshit that it's coming up on that. So where's it going? Where's our stuff against Bama? Georgia, I've seen it. This is the tip of the iceberg against these schools. You cannot retroactively reinforce rules that you never had in place to begin with. You cannot do it. You can't go back and make up a rule. That was the thing to begin with when they put in NIL, when they put in this transfer portal, when they put in these now multiple transfers. There was really nothing governing this. And I've seen these CBS sports announcers who have their vendetta against Tennessee. And again, I'm not on here as a conspiracy theorist that everybody's against Tennessee. I don't think they are. But where's this same, all these schools, are you telling me Lane Kiffin and all these guys he's rolling in the portal is doing it by the book? Are you telling me that Florida State's already got pulled in, but they've rolled in all these guys in the portal. All these guys Texas A&M rolled in last year under Jimbo, put together this phenomenal class. Are you telling me it was all by the book? Tennessee's the only one. Tennessee and Florida, I'll take it for Florida this one time. They're the only ones not going by the book. Give me a break, man. Give me a break. Hats off to the judges. And what I like, and I thought this, when Plowman come out with her statement against the NCAA, you mark it down tonight on this date at 31 minutes this show. That's going to start a revolution. The NCAA is skating on thin ice, and it's not going to be long till that ice breaks and the NCAA is done with. I don't know who will go with Tennessee, maybe Florida, Florida State. Who else do they get to go with them? Probably not Georgia and Alabama because they're letting them away with everything. They're letting them away with everything at this point. Probably not, some clown like Drinkwitz at Missouri in that program because he's doing his thing and mocking others while looking like a complete idiot doing it at basketball games. Still saying this is the start of a revolution because Tennessee's really the first one to go back against them with it. Do others join in? I don't think it'll be imminent, but I think it will happen in due time that happens as well. But I thought it was big for Tennessee today because I think it's obviously going to be against Nico and these payments for him. But, you look around and 24/7 had an article recently. It was anonymous with recruits talking about the pay scale, what they were being offered, what they were being paid, what they were being, I guess, given along the way. Not all of them took the money on it, but it was a pretty fascinating, pretty interesting article as to what's going on. And if you think every team's clean, there's not probably a clean team out there right now with this. And if they're going to come up with rules now, so be it. But you can't retroactively reinforce those rules. You can't put a rule into place now and then go back and say, well, this team broke that rule 2 years ago that was just put in place now. It's a joke. It's a joke. The NCAA is a joke. They're done with. It's just a matter of time. It's not a matter of if. It's a matter of when. And I think this alliance with the SEC and the Big Ten is going to lead to those possibly even two conferences branching out and getting out of it. What they need to make it all happen is for ESPN and or Fox to go with them. That's who has the most of the rights with that. If those television networks go with them, the NCAA's done with. And there are so many possibilities they go with. Do these teams with the ACC? If I'm Clemson, Florida State, North Carolina, and these teams, what the hell, man? If this breakaway happens, not if, but when, there's going to be enough money put out there that they're probably going to pay these buyouts for those teams as well. But, that's enough about that. I feel I would hit on it a little bit. I'm at about 34 minutes. I'm going to wrap this thing up. Guys, hopefully we'll continue to build this thing. Not a big audience, again, for baseball tonight. Decent audience night one. But what's keeping me going on at the post video views have been really good for this channel. I'm not comparing myself to ones with higher subscribers. It's still a channel, not even 2 months old, but the post video views have been good for most of these, so it's driving it. We're building this a little bit at a time. Subscriptions have taken off here the last couple of weeks. Like I said, if you know somebody who likes Tennessee baseball, Tennessee sports, share this out. This is going to be kind of my pitch here at the end. I don't want to spend the beginning pitching it. This is, if you're a Tennessee baseball fan, this is a fact. There's other channels that cover it. None of them are going to cover it as thorough as this channel is. I'm going to be the most thorough Tennessee channel that's out there for baseball. Football, there's others covering football. That's their game, is football. Good for them. So be it. Basketball, baseball, football. I don't have any of these other channels wanting to work with me. I don't have any of them wanting to share it out. That's fine. I'll roll alone. You guys that are tuning in, thank you. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for giving this channel a chance. I cannot stress it, how much I appreciate you guys. Hang in there. This thing's going to grow as we go. My name's Frank Rock. Happy Friday. The plan for tomorrow, Tennessee baseball tomorrow at 2. Tomorrow night, Tennessee basketball. I'm going to go live after the basketball game tomorrow night. I kicked myself Tuesday when I didn't wait to go live after the basketball game. And I thought about it the next day and I was like, what was I thinking? But no post game after the baseball. I may drop just a quick recap of it tomorrow. But tomorrow night after the basketball, I'm going to go live, talk about that. So hopefully we'll get a good crowd, some good discussion. Tim, Caleb, thank you guys. I cannot stress it enough how much I appreciate you guys supporting the channel, chiming in when you're in here. But Frank Rock, House of Orange Sports Channel, happy Friday. As always, go Vols.